It's so important to be able to spend time alone before getting into a relationship. And people told me this so much when I was young, and I never got it. It
Can
took,
you repeat it again for the people in the
yeah,
back?
in the back, okay? You need
Yeah.
to spend time alone before going into a relationship. Get out of the DMs. Don't do the revolving door on relationships, one after another after another. Get out of it. Heal, because there's something you're avoiding healing. That's why you're hopping into relationship after relationship, right? Learn how to date yourself. That's what I call it. Dating yourself is go to a concert, go to a restaurant, right? Go to a movie. Go to yoga, whatever it
Mhm.
is. Guys, learn jujitsu and take yourself out for a steak dinner afterwards. Okay? Do something positive and date yourself.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Can you tell myself and the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are?
Why I think I am who I am. That's
Yep.
awesome. That's a great thing to say. Okay, so let's dive in deep right away.
Yep.
Okay, my name's Melanie, Melanie Leona, and I go by the love coach. And the why for that is I help people heal what's been blocking them from the love that they deserve and the love that they crave. And I help them heal. I have the roadmap for healing. I've had to do it myself, and um, I it made such an impact in my life that now my mission is to help everybody I can to have that same sort of healing so that they can attract the love that they really deserve.
I love that. So
Thanks.
with that being said, with what you do, who is Melanie?
Who is Melanie? Let's see. Well,
Whatever you're willing to share.
let's see. Oh, which part? My gosh. Okay. So I've been on this earth quite a while now. And of the years I've been on this earth, I've lived many lives. I really have. Like from childhood to teenage years to my 20s to when I had my son to, and mind you, those 20s were fun. I had my son when I was 25, and I've done a lot of traveling, I've done a lot of loving, I've done a lot of living.
Mm.
And it brought me to a place where after my son left the house, I felt a little purposeless. And for so long, I feel a lot of moms, their purpose is in raising humans,
Mhm.
raising good humans. And after that, I didn't know what it was. And so I kind of fell into a little bit of a slump. So I hired a coach. And that coach made such a world of difference in my life that I just wanted to Go and spread the word to everybody else. Like, you don't have to live this way. And so that, I literally fell into my purpose with that, because once I started healing, then I became a coach. And the biggest piece of my coaching is returning you to self-love. That's where the love
Mm.
comes in. And that is my purpose, is to help you see in yourself what your highest self actually is, right? Help you to
Yeah.
see what you're actually capable of. And the highest vibration that you can possibly reach, and the highest self you can get, is through love.
Mm. And the self, you know, in my opinion, has to come before others. And when you take care of the self-love, not to say you can't be loved if you don't love
Right.
yourself, but it
Right.
makes it a hell of a lot easier. you know?
Yes. Yes. And, if you love yourself, it's easier to believe that other people can love you too.
Hmm.
You know, it's a lot easier to receive love. It's a lot easier to receive a lot of things, including
Yeah.
love, when you love yourself. And I know that sounds so cheesy and so cliche, but there's a reason things become cliche. They're said over
Yeah.
and over again because they're real, you know.
Yeah.
You truly do
Yeah.
need to. You have to love your authentic self too. And the thing is, a lot of people don't. They don't know who their authentic self is. And that's the piece you have to
Right.
heal and find before you can even experience self-love. Finding that authenticity, who you really are. Like you said, who is Melanie? You know, I had to I had to do a deep dive into that one. Who is Melanie? Oh, I
Mhm.
like to say I have a lot of facets, like a diamond, right?
Yeah.
There's an old song. Can I swear a little bit?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So there's an old song, right? From the 90s called Bitch, right? She says, I'm a bitch, I'm
Oh,
a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint, right? I am all
yeah.
these things. I am this imperfect human learning how to get through this experience called life, you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, so there's many facets to me, but one of the greatest is that I have never given up on love, ever. I just decided to study it so I can help everybody
Mm.
else get back to that self-love. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole my whole theme is unveil the beautiful beast within you. The beautiful beast within is your true, authentic
Yes.
self that's been covered in, like, I call them veils, but they're these just layers of, most
Hmm.
of it is protection that we've put on throughout our life. And I want to help people uncover the real, true you and find your own adventure to health so that you can take care of that beautiful beast within. And part of that
Yes. Yeah.
is relationship health.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
because the thing
What were you
is,
going to say?
okay, well, the thing is, so we carry so much serotonin like in our guts, right? Gut health, super important for the rest of your body to function.
Mhm.
But if your relationship is having turmoil, you're going to feel it in your gut. You might get an upset stomach, literally. There are people that feel anxiety and, you know, the tumultuous in the relationship so much so they'll even throw up, right? Where
Mm.
that's a physical health experience, that where your emotional health is affecting your physical being, right? And there's so
Yeah.
many instances of that, right? Look at the people that,
Yeah.
bless their hearts, they grow old with somebody and one of them passes away, and usually within a year, so does the other, oftentimes of a heart attack. Go
Yeah.
figure.
Hmm.
Dying of a broken heart. It's so common. So yeah, taking care of what's going on inside of us, including what's going on inside of our relationships, helps our whole physical being by all
Yeah.
means.
What would you say is a common block that people have that's blocking them from receiving love?
Hmm. I'd say the most common is no matter what level of trauma you've experienced in your life, it's affecting you. If you haven't acknowledged it, it's affecting you. And when I say trauma, we could have low level trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have childhood trauma. You could have mental, physical, sexual. There's so many different ways that trauma happens, including children of divorce, right? And I'm sorry, I don't have an opinion one way or another on divorce.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do see is that it affects kids. It definitely does.
Yeah.
And grown now 30, 40-year-old people that have experienced that. And that's the only thing that happened is, let's say dad left the house. That's trauma. Even if it was an amicable divorce, it's trauma for the child because it's that adjustment. Now, granted, that's more of a low level trauma versus, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, rape or incest or, anything like that. But most of us are walking around with some level of trauma that we have learned to cope through. And we don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that it's actually affecting our relationships like crazy.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize that, there's like the micro and the macro traumas. Like I
Yes.
grew up
Well said.
thinking trauma is, oh my gosh, a car accident, or oh my gosh,
Right.
somebody died, which is more, that's trauma and grief,
Yeah.
but not realizing that I grew up with a lot of micro traumas and
Over and over.
over and over. Yeah. And one of the things I've been noticing about myself lately is I'll say like XYZ, oh, that happened when I was 7. Oh, this other thing. Oh, that happened when I was 7. Oh, this other thing. Oh, that happened when I was 7. And then I finally went, what happened when I was 7?
Yeah. What's going on here? There's
That is
a,
that started all these random things. No, not all of them are connected, but when I was 7, my parents got divorced. So, so like you said, like
see?
that
Yes.
started it.
It's a
Yeah.
thing. It is. And it's not, I mean, bless your parents' heart that they didn't, sit and fight in front of you. And, they actually did do that and better their own lives on their,
Hmm.
for their individual selves. I don't get into right, wrong, or indifferent when it comes to
Right.
divorce because each relationship is so personal and so specific to you, right?
Hmm.
But the after effects are, I mean, there are literal after effects from divorce, even just the slightest, and it will hit your relationships, you know,
Hmm.
and whether it comes in the form of um your attachment style, right? Whether that's avoidant or anxiously attached to somebody, kind of needy, right? Or
Hmm.
like, where are you going? I miss you. That's kind of the anxious attached, avoidant attached, where they have a fear of intimacy because somebody's left their life. Um, there's so many ways that these small things can affect, abandonment fears, uh,
Hmm.
self-worth, self-image. Oftentimes kids will personalize it and did I do something? Maybe if I would have done this, this, or this and been more perfect, right? And then they become a perfectionist and they wind up being CEOs and things like that, but those are the people that you'll hear where money doesn't buy happiness. They'll be the
Hmm.
ones to tell you at first,
Yeah.
right? Because they never caught the carrot that they were trying to, that was dangling in front of them, which was, idea of perfection will help. That's when
Yeah.
I'll get it all. That's when I'll have all that I need to feel happy. And
Hmm.
then that brings me into codependency, which is probably the most prevalent relationship concern that I see in every person that comes to me.
Mm. I want to rewind just a little bit when you were talking about the after. And it's interesting that you mentioned this because who was I talking to about it? I was talking to somebody about like a a theme that's kind of been coming up lately with my guests is nobody talks about the after getting out of the thing or after, so like for example, after somebody gets out of an abusive relationship, after somebody overcomes an addiction, all of that crap is still in your body. So it's not like people have this idea where, okay, the thing is over, now I'm free. Not yet. You still have a lot of work to do. Um,
Lots of healing.
so what
By the way,
you're,
I was one of those
yeah.
people. You
Oh,
kind of
okay.
told my story a little bit there. I was definitely one of those people. I was in an abusive relationship for 8 years. It was not abusive for all of those 8 years, but we'll just say it was an abusive relationship, and the relationship lasted 8 years. And when I got out of it, I thought that I was good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was that slump I hit where I needed to hire a coach. And that's when I dove into healing because like you said, there are so many layers to healing, right? Like you peel back one,
Yeah.
my coach always says that healing's like peeling an onion, right? You peel back the layers, layer by layer. And what I added to that is, yeah. And as you go, the layers get thicker, more difficult to peel back. And boy, do they make you cry. Right?
Yeah. And sometimes
Woo!
they smell funny.
Yeah, that part. Yes. Yeah, sometimes they smell funny, look funny. You're like, ooh, I don't want
Yeah.
to do this one. Yeah. Yeah, and it's ongoing. Healing is ongoing. Even
Yeah.
I've had people that it's so cute. So they hire me as a dating coach, right? And we go through all the healing, the inner child work, and all of that. And they attract the love of their life. They do. I've got to say, I've
Mm.
only had one, I don't want to call it a failure, but we'll just say my success rate is all but one. But that was his choice. Um,
Mm.
my, yeah, when, I've had people attract, the love of their life, and they're like, "All right, let's go. I don't need you anymore."
Psych.
Their shit shows up.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you are not tested when you're not in a relationship. It is easy. What you're tested on is your ability to be alone when you're not in a relationship.
Hmm.
That's that's big. That's big. Can you be
Yeah.
alone? Can you be happy by yourself? Can you fully step into yourself by yourself? That's huge. But yes, then when you get into a relationship, the idiosyncrasies will test your levels of healing,
Yeah.
and you're reacting and, your standards, your boundaries, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. I want to speak to two of those things. I don't know if you know who Dave Hollis is, but he was a. Do you know who Rachel Hollis is? She wrote "Girl, Wash Your Face."
Yes. Yes. Yep.
He was her husband, and
Okay.
he died last year.
Hmm.
Well, he was her ex-husband, but anyway, he used to say, hold on, I lost the thought. I had a baby once. Hold on. Oh, he used to
Yep.
say, "How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself?" And, and that's kind of, going into the conversation that you're speaking of, like
Hmm.
your clients first have to learn how to be with themselves.
Yeah.
Next step is in this relationship. And then the other piece I wanted to speak to, like kind of going into that conversation, is the reason we're constantly healing and it's an ongoing thing is because we're still living and we're still experiencing micro and macro traumas. And so it's like
Yeah.
heal, event, heal, life, heal. So it's like this
Well, yeah,
constant
and we've got
thing
these
rather
series
than
of
a
choices.
destination.
And as we're
Yeah.
healing, we've got choice A or choice B. Okay, well, then it's like a tree branch effect, right? We've got choice A, choice B, and choice A. Okay, boom, boom. Now we have two choices from choice A, right? We have choice A and choice B again
Mhm.
from that one. And then we go on in this choice and this choice. And sometimes those choices really hurt us.
Yeah.
And then if we go into something else, then we end up getting hurt and hurt and hurt if we move on too quickly because those choices are going to be affected by those mini traumas as we're
Mhm.
kind of collecting them. I call that the snowball effect of trauma. It's yeah, that's my coin phrase is because once trauma happens, right? Those choices, they change. You choose differently
Mhm.
because of that trauma because your brain has been affected. You make different
Yeah.
choices. You operate from different areas of the brain as well. And but keeping it simple, you know, it's so important to be able to spend time alone before getting into a relationship. And people told me this so much when I was young, and I never got it.
Mhm.
It
Can you
took,
repeat it again for the people in the
yeah,
back?
in the back, okay? You need
Yeah.
to spend time alone before going into a relationship. Get out of the DMs. Okay. Don't do the revolving door on relationships, one after another after another. Get out of it. Heal because there's something you're avoiding healing. That's why you're hopping into relationship after relationship, right? Learn how to date yourself. That's what I call it. Dating yourself is go to a concert, go
That
to
was
a, yeah, yes. Go to a restaurant, right? Go to a movie. Go to yoga, whatever it
Mhm.
is. Okay. Guys, learn jujitsu and take yourself out for a steak dinner afterwards. Okay. Do something positive and date yourself. Learn how to love yourself so that you can believe that you're actually lovable when you do get into a relationship and you don't trip and you don't worry about things like he's hanging out with his friends tonight.
Mhm.
Awesome. Guess what? I get to go hang out with mine, or I can stay at home and work. Or there's a movie I've been dying to see, right? But if you haven't done the work on yourself, you might be wondering what he's doing instead of
Mhm.
what's more important, what you're doing.
Yeah. I was gonna add, like you said, learn to date yourself, and then that can, and I'm gonna say the word I don't like using, but that should
Yes.
you, you should continue to date yourself even after you're in a relationship and
Yep.
or married or whatever. I take myself to Six Flags every month by myself,
I
and I ride
love
them roller
that.
coasters.
Ride them, girl. You ride them roller coasters. I
I
love that.
ride
Both hands up.
them.
Both hands up.
Yep, both hands up.
I
And they go, "How
love
many?"
that.
I'm like,
One.
"One."
Well, and you get to go to the front
One.
or the back, wherever you want to go all the time because you're a party of one.
Exactly.
I
Party of one.
love that.
Yep.
And
And I've been
yes,
married 10 years next month.
amen,
Yeah.
sister. I love that. See, and
So,
I was in a relationship when, when I first started that, when I hired my coach, I was in a relationship and I knew nothing about alone time. He did. He got it a little bit more than me. I'll give him his props on that. But yeah, I didn't really understand that. I was still very anxiously attached, getting into that attachment theory stuff. That's something I specialize in, along with trauma healing, is attachment theory. and healing your attachment style, becoming more secure, less avoidant, right? Actually learning how to love intimacy, or less anxious, learning how to love yourself. Yes.
Yeah. I had
So,
to take that in for a second.
mhm. Yeah. A lot of us fall on either side of the equation. 50%, they say 50% are secure, right?
Yeah.
Usually 10 years of a marriage, you probably have that down, that secure attachment. However, it's a spectrum, it can shift from one side to the other. And then speaking of, there's also a style called disorganized attachment style or fearful avoidant. And what that is you fluctuate between attachment styles depending on how you're triggered. If somebody comes into your life
Yeah.
and they are very clingy, then you will push them away. And if somebody comes into your life and they are very emotionally distant, or don't have a whole lot of emotional maturity, kind of ghosting you, then you're like, hey, where are you? Where are you? Please.
Yeah.
So they will fluctuate back and forth. And so those are the attachment styles I really work with a lot because I've been there. I am that
Yep.
disorganized attachment style, depending on how I was triggered. Um, Never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to heal that in myself. And therefore that's why I always say I've got the roadmap.
Yeah. That's big too, because
Yeah.
I was married to an abusive drug addict before my current husband, and
Mm.
that poured into, well, first I was like, fuck relationships. I'm never gonna be with anyone again. And then I met my husband.
Yeah.
Um, but even the example I use all the time is I had a hard time asking my husband now to take out the trash because my ex-husband would scream at me when I asked him to do anything around the house because he was busy playing his game. And that transferred over. And I'm like, you married, I married like the opposite of my ex-husband. He's like
Of
the
course.
sweetest.
Oh, I
He's
love
like
that.
I sometimes I'm like, how do I even deserve you? But anyway,
Mhm.
but that fear was still there, even though I
You did
know
all
him to his
along.
core. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
deserved him all along.
I did.
Yeah.
But like my point
I know
is
what you
it
mean. I know.
transfers over if you don't
Yeah.
do the healing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That happened to me. So my thing was directions, right? Don't give directions, otherwise you might, And so I had a really hard time, which I learned. Most people, if they're going the wrong way, would like to know that.
Yeah.
Even though my ex did not. He did not want to know. He would figure it out for himself,
Yeah.
So I had to learn that most people actually would like to know that they are going the wrong direction. If they've taken a wrong turn or something, like they
Yeah.
would like to know that. So yeah, you do. I mean,
Wow.
after relationships, after toxic relationships, you have to relearn how to truly love, right? And that
Yeah.
again, that's going back to, knowing that you're worthy enough to suggest that the trash might need attending,
Yeah.
especially if you're busy attending to something else for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag
But
healing.
yes, always hashtag healing journey. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, my goodness, so fun. You are really easy to talk to. This has been awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much for
you.
having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted me to ask and you wanted to talk to? I'll edit that
That
out.
part. So
Cut.
the old, right.
Yeah.
Okay, takes two. The only thing that I would add is to check out my website, sheisthelovecoach.com, and or check me out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you
Okay.
name it, I got it. And yeah, check out my videos. I have an ebook. I have 2 workbooks. I have a couples workbook, and of course, a self-love workbook for sale. And the ebook is free, and the workbooks are for sale, all on my website. If you have any questions, I can list my phone number, my website, and my email if anybody needs to get in contact with me. If you're ready to heal and find that self-love so that you can really experience love for yourself.
I will put all of that information, listeners, in the show notes so that
Awesome.
you have clickable links. I do have one more question for you, and you might have already answered it, but I'm gonna ask anyway because I ask at the end of every episode. And that is, if you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be?
Find your authenticity. Come on, girlfriend. Come on, dude. Seriously, find out who you are, not who somebody else is, not what political party you belong to, not your role, your gender, none of that. Find your soul. Find your authentic soul and be it. Heal and be authentic. That's what I've got.
Beautiful beasts, Melanie signing off. Until next time.